All right, we'll figure something out. Anyway, it is our pilot. This is where we figure out all the kinks of our show.
We're living by the mantra, progress, not perfection.
Exactly. People can learn from this, right? You just kind of roll with it.
That's right. You got to have the guts to get out there and give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the whole point of us doing this is that we just have these conversations that are pretty dang insightful. And Sandra brought up last time we were talking, oh my gosh, everybody needs these insights that just happen during our conversations. And that's when she had the idea to put this together. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I think it's kind of fun. And it, you know, here's another lesson, I think, for viewers is to put yourself out there. Because for me, this is a huge putting myself out there. I'm kind of a private person, but with the people I'm close to, I'm totally open and transparent. It's kind of a dichotomy. I'm totally open and transparent with the people who are close to me and extremely private with people I don't know very well.
Yeah.
So this is a huge stepping outside of my comfort zone to just put myself out there for everybody. And
so what do you think got you to the point where you even realized that was a part of what you wanted to do? I mean, I know that you've had some changes professionally that you went from being like a pure clinician to coaching to energy healer. Where along the line did you feel like that was even important for you?
I think it's important for everyone actually to keep pushing the envelope and being more and more of who they are. Mm-hmm. And I've always been someone who walks the talk. I don't tell my clients to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. I think that's hypocritical, and integrity is so important to me. And so the spark came into my head, let's do this. You know, I said it to you before I even thought about what I was saying. And then I realized the implications of it. I just thought, oh my gosh, what did I just set myself up for? And so instead of backing out and saying, you know what, and now that I thought about it, I don't want to put myself out there to the world like this. I just said, you know what, let's just go for it. And what's the worst that can happen? You know, I tell people all the time, you know, not everybody's going to like you. It's just impossible. Everybody's got their own filter. And so to expect that is setting yourself up for some problems. So I just figured I'm just gonna put myself out there.
Yeah.
It's my self-confidence.
I love that you actually just like dived in. You're like, oh, this is an idea, and like committed to it, and then just went, oh crap.
I know, right? Because this is something that came up for us at most a week ago.
Yeah, a week and a half, something like that. It was a Friday, one of our Friday afternoon chats.
And then next thing you know, here we are, 10 days later.
Diving right in.
All right, so what about you? Why did you go, okay, sure, I'll do this?
Well, the kind of like you, the acceptance of the need to come forth with my personal self wasn't something that was even really on my radar. Like when I first started my practice, I thought people would be more concerned with how I could help them. Even marketing gurus are like, you know, lead with your with them, you know, the what's in it for me. And so I always thought that meant about what I offer, how I coach, the kinds of problems I help you solve, the kinds of tools, like all of those things. And then I had the extreme luck to stumble along this gal who did some PR work, and she started asking me for my personal stories. And I'm like, well, yeah, but what I do is I help people with this stuff. These are my things, but I help people with these things. And what I realized through radio talk shows and interviews and even just like written stuff, people care more about who you are first. Then they go, okay, I'm on board with her. Does she have a solution for my problem? So I thought it was really interesting that was how, and when I think about it, I consume information and ideas and personal practices the same way. You know, Brene Brown, when she first came out, I knew more about her and her fallibility and her vulnerability and her feeling foolish on stage than I did about her actual practice as a social scientist. And yet that's what drew me in enough to buy her books and get on board with her message and share her posts and things like that. So, I mean, makes sense. But I was just really surprised that people cared about who I am and my trials and my tribulations, which is silly. I mean, we've got the narrative bias, meaning we learn through story. So it's kind of obvious now that I know it, but I didn't know it at the time. And to your point, we kind of all just need to be there, don't we? Just sharing of ourselves constantly.
Yeah, absolutely.
In fact, I think that's one of the things that's really helping us evolve, to be honest. You know, if you look back at like the times of English civilization, you know, everybody had their skeletons in their closet, and everybody thought that's where they belonged, that you didn't talk about your dirty laundry, you didn't talk about the things that made people uncomfortable or identified a family member as different or any of those things. And what they created was all this crazy stigma around just human problems. And everybody who had a problem felt like they couldn't solve it or they couldn't do anything about it because it was unsafe. They were supposed to stay in the closet. These are the things you didn't talk about. And I think that the direction we're moving now is one that's really led and fed by this transparency that people have. People are talking about depression. People are talking about gender identity. They're talking about all of these things, or even just, you know, coping with grief and how we feel about our political climate and all of these things that at one point was you just didn't do it. And the fact that we're talking about it allows people that safe space to go, you too? I did that.
Exactly. I think these brave souls that are going out there and talking about suicide attempts or family members who have attempted suicide or coming out of the closet and things like that, they are the ones who are really showing what true self-acceptance really means and modeling it for so many people. Because I think so many people struggle at the base of their existence with self-acceptance. And that's where all of this shoving all your skeletons in the closet comes from, and presenting this perfect picture of a perfect life, which nobody really has. And there shouldn't really be a stigma in terms of saying, well, I have problems. Who doesn't? I mean, welcome to the human race.
Right? Yeah, and I think you use the perfect word for that too, is model, right? So not only are these people modeling the character, the strength of character and the bravery to come forth, but they're modeling what their process looks like. It was uncomfortable. It was scary. And yeah, I had haters over here, but I had a lot more support. And because I have this support, not only do I now have resources I didn't have access to, but I now have the courage to take even that farther step. And I think that's the best word for it, is because you can't be it if you can't see it, right? So the moment you see that kind of integral personal tenacity and courage is the moment you go, okay, I could do that. And aren't we stronger when we're helping somebody else out? So you hear these people go, I had no idea I was going to be an inspiration to others, but now that I am, I can't stop, right? Like, that's pretty great. You can't muster the gumption for yourself. Oftentimes you can do it for somebody else.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing here, right?
That's right. We're just modeling our gumption.
Yeah. How was your weekend?
Oh gosh, I had a good weekend. Yard work mostly. I have not stayed on top of my yard this summer, and the deferred maintenance has caught up to me. So this was actually our second weekend of catching up on everything. We probably have one more. And yeah, happy hour with some friends. Oh, you did that museum thing. How was the museum thing?
I did. It was really great. And it was kind of funny. Speaking of stepping outside your box, I went with a friend of mine, and she was really happy that I invited her. And you know, one of the great things about living in Denver is all these free activities that they have. And she asked me, would I have done it by myself if I hadn't asked her, if she didn't come with me? And I thought it was an interesting question for her to ask, because normally in the past, I probably wouldn't have. I would have been like, no, I'm not going to go out by myself. I'm just going to stay home. But this time I actually said, you know, I think I would have done it. I would have just gone and explored all these museums for free on this night by myself. So
what's different for you? What made that change?
I think just making an effort, you know, because it's funny. Years ago, I was really shy. I was shy all through, you know, grade school, high school, college. And then when I was actually even through graduate school, now that I think about it, it was after graduate school that I decided, you know, I'm going to stop being shy. And the only way to stop being shy is to go put myself out there. And that's how I ended up meeting my ex-husband. So I went to this huge party that friends of friends invited me to. And I was like, oh, how many people are going to be there? Because I never went to any place that had more than at least half the people that I knew. I wouldn't go. But if I didn't know at least half the people there. And they're like, well, they're probably going to be like, 100 people there. And I thought, oh my God, 100 people. And I only barely know these two.
What am I getting myself into? This is another one of those, just say yes. Oh, crap.
Right? Well, it turned out to be like 500.
Oh, no.
Yes. So I almost feel like I'm having like a second version of that. So I'm not really a shy person anymore. But now it's more like, are you willing to just go out and have fun by yourself and not always have somebody else around, my conscious mind says to share it with, but subconsciously it's a security blanket having somebody else there with me and not doing it alone. So I recognize that now, and I'm like working to do something about it.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because both of those things are true for you too. Because I know you're highly social. Like one of your favorite things is to have people around and good food and great conversation. So I can see how that to share it with somebody is actually also true. So is this other and I need to get out more. I want to be able to do these things on my own and have those experiences too. I think that's one of the tricky things is I do this too, where I get stuck in like one side of my truth. And I'm just like, well, but it's true. And I think it takes almost a habit or a practice of being able to say, yeah, and you're working on some stuff. Is this thing you're doing playing into or an opportunity to work on some of the stuff that you're working on? And so good for you for spotting that. And good for you for the fact that you would have done it anyway. I think that's awesome. There's a lot to be said for the activities we do on our own. It's a completely different experience. I don't know about for you, but for me, I'm in it more. Like I'm just, especially stuff like that. If there's a tour guide or something, I'm able to be present to just the activity as opposed to sort of dividing my attention between a couple different things.
I'll have to learn how to do that, because for me, I feel like I get into it, but then I have nobody to share that experience with. So there is some truth in it being less of an experience for me if there's no one to share it with. Somebody to be like, oh my God, I'd never been to that museum before. That was pretty awesome. That was pretty cool. And I look funny saying that to myself.
Are you somebody who feels like you have to process out loud? I am. I
don't. No, I'm totally an introvert. I process internally. Not that it doesn't help to hear what comes out of my mouth, because I think, what? I think I might be on the cusp now since I let go of being shy. So sometimes it's better for me to process internally, and sometimes it's better for me to talk to somebody, not so much to get their opinion, but to see how it resonates back when I actually say it to somebody. When you say something to somebody and as it's coming out of your mouth, you're like, no, that really wasn't a good idea. Why would I even think about doing something like that?
I don't know. Hey, let's do this talk show. I'm just joking.
So speaking of doing stuff, did you go salsa dancing?
No, my friend was out of town.
What?
She left town. Yeah, well, she had, in her defense, she had these plans were supposed to come up for this coming weekend, and her schedule changed with her kids' school stuff, so she had to put that trip on this weekend. So we'll reschedule that, but no, didn't get to go salsa dancing. Did I tell you, though, I went on an actual real-life ghost hunt a couple weekends ago?
Oh, my God, no.
Oh my God.
What is that? A real-life ghost hunt?
Like with the equipment and the EVP, all the stuff with the heat signature, all the stuff that you see. I'm like,
holy cow, how did that come about?
Oh my gosh. So a friend of mine met this guy online, and
of course.
It wasn't a romantic connection, but they're friends and they hit it off. And she was telling me about him, and she's like, well, it turns out they'd sort of talked a few times. He's like, well, I have to be honest with you. I don't tell everybody this right away, but I'm the what did he call himself? maybe just the ghost hunter of Colorado or something like that. That's sort of his brand, is he's the ghost hunter, and he runs this spirit PI group and stuff. And I asked her, I'm like, oh my gosh, would he ever be willing to be a guest on my talk show? You know, if and when it comes to fruition. She's like, I don't know, I'll ask him. So I asked for an e-invite, and she offered, would you be interested? He said, yes. In fact, why don't the two of you come with VIP passes to the ghost hunt that we're doing at the Denver Firefighters Museum downtown? And this was
the Denver Firefighters Museum?
Yes. So we were there till like 1 o'clock in the morning doing this whole thing after. Yes, it was.
Oh my God.
Bonafide.
What time did it start?
7:30. And
so it was 7:30 to 1 o'clock in the morning?
Yep. It was an all-night thing. And I didn't even know we had these groups here. I had no idea this was even a thing that people could just like go do, like an excursion or like but you can. And Denver Firefighting Museum had it on their website. So there were all kinds of people. We just happened to know the guy who could sort of give us the equipment. We could use the equipment and stuff. But so there was probably about 35 people there or so. They had appetizers and all the history. They had historians about the building and who died there and sort of the experiences people had before. And then there were 3 groups, basement, main, and top. And we used all different kinds of technology on each level. It was so much fun. And we got some really cool EVPs, and we got some.
What's an EVP?
It's the electronic voice phenomenon. It's a thing where you ask a question and you play it on a recorder, and then you play the recorder back and see if anything answered you.
Oh, wow. Did you get any answer?
It was, yeah, we got a couple. It was pretty cool.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
So would you ask and would you hear back?
So the 2 that the group before us got asked if, did your daddy work here? Because they were getting something. Some of the history is about a small boy that died there or around there, something like that. And you clearly hear this voice go, "Daddy," like in this tiny little voice.
Oh, that's so freaky. Oh my God.
It was so cool. And then there was another one.
You think it's cool? And I'm like, I'd have gotten the heck out of there. Despite all the stuff that I know and have done, I'm like, ghosts is where I draw the line.
You're not going to be talking to them anytime soon.
No, I'm not talking to spirits, and I'm not channeling any spirits. I will help you connect with your higher self and creator, but that's where I draw the line with the
ghost.
Actually, well, never mind. We'll skip that part for another time. Go ahead. So tell me more. What were the other questions and answers?
Well, the cool thing was so there were a couple in the group before us, and then this all happened in the basement portion. And while we were down there, right next to my head, I couldn't even believe it. That there was me, there was my friend who was right next to me, and another guy that was on the side of her. All 3 of us heard the call back out loud in the room. So we didn't even have to wait for the recorder. In fact, we were all like, did you guys hear that? Did you guys hear that? And the people on the other side of the group didn't hear it because it happened right next to us. So when we played it back, we could hear it. One of the gals asked, do you wish you could go outside and play? And we heard this, like this little crying noise from a little kid. It was the sweetest, saddest little sound.
Okay, so did anybody ask why he was still there and why he didn't just transition to his next state of existence?
People did, but there wasn't any answer. So you don't get an answer for every question, and we probably got one answer for every 7 or 8 questions we asked. And we only got to do this for, a few minutes at a time, and it was a larger group. So yeah, people did ask. We just never answered that part. But yeah, it was super cool. It was totally fun. And I don't even remember why I brought that up. Why did I even bring that up?
I don't know, but that was really interesting. I wonder what would happen if somebody went there and helped them transition, if you would still have those phenomenons.
Probably not the interactive ones. I wouldn't think so. But if you have those residual ones where it's almost like, how our bodies have cellular memory, like energetic memory, and it just does stuff. I bet you'd have those because they're called residual hauntings, where it's like a tape on a loop and the same section just happens over and over again. It doesn't interact with its environment at all. It's like stuck in the energy of the building. Have you ever heard of that?
No, but I know you can clear your house. You can clear your home of, you know, past energy from everyone who's lived there before.
Yeah. Well, I've cleared my own home of stuff that has had clearly like more than just bad juju from the last homeowners.
Oh, heck yeah. I do it on a regular basis. I don't even just stop it when I move in. Like, every couple of days, you just never know what people bring in with them.
No, you don't. You really don't, especially people who aren't conscious of what they bring with them. They're not conscious of where they are in space and time and the stuff they're working on. And people unknowingly carry around a lot of negative energy, just fear mostly, but that translates into anger, frustration, confusion, hatred. Yeah. So yeah, good idea to cleanse.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't even remember why I brought that up, but yeah, pretty cool.
But you were talking about your weekend.
I did yard work, and then I didn't get to do the salsa dancing. And then I had a happy hour with a friend on Friday. Or Thursday. I didn't do anything on Friday. I had a night off.
Nice. Cool.
So what else did you do besides
I just needed to recover. I just needed to recover. I've just been doing so much on my website and, you know, setting up this, you know, marketing campaign to, well, there's the other half, right? There's me putting myself out here on this, and then there's going to be like my business putting itself out there, you know, to the world saying, hey, guess what? You know, here's what I can do. You didn't know that I can do this. And
right. Yeah.
You didn't know how much I can help you. So yes, I just literally was so exhausted that by Friday, I felt like if I didn't stop, I wasn't even going to be able to remember my name. My brain was just going to be so fried. So I tried to take it easy as much as possible.
Yeah.
Another lesson in practicing what you preach, right? You spend 20 years teaching stress management. You know, it's like, okay, time to do what you would tell somebody else to do.
That's right. If you were your client, what would you be saying right now?
Right.
It's
so
funny.
I did it, and I feel so much better.
Oh, sorry?
I did it, and I feel so much better.
Good. It's funny you say that. Actually, I shared a graphic on my my business page on Facebook just this morning that was like, you know, those times when you're unproductive in quotation marks is actually time to recharge, and the seeds of change are being planted. And that is one of those things that I really, when I go into those times, and I can feel the shift energetically when I'm just that, yes, the brain is mush. Yes, it's been stressed. And yes, you know, like there's the clinical side of it, but there's also that energy thing that's happening inside where you've got to really consolidate all the changes and allow for everything to shift into what's next. And when I feel that, I still inevitably feel guilty for taking that time off, feel guilty for playing or hiking or painting.
Oh, girlfriend, you need to stop that. Let me tell you. There have been times where I have just made it a point to just for at least 24 hours. And there have been some occasions where I've done it for the entire weekend, but at least 24 hours, you just stay in your pajamas. Like, make sure you have at least boiled eggs in your refrigerator so you don't even have to cook. You don't have to clean. You don't have to do anything. You don't even get out of bed unless you got to pee or you're starving and you want to eat a boiled egg. Literally, when I have just rested like that, like seriously vegged out, like you wouldn't believe veg out, like literally just spend the whole time in bed watching Netflix or Hulu movies. The following day,
so much better.
10 times more productive than I have been for the entire time since the last veg day.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I schedule in my downtime, but I have like in my head, like there's a right time to do it. You know,
no, this is beyond downtime. This is downtime on steroids. This is, I don't even talk to anybody. My phone is off. I do not talk to anybody at all. Cause even talking to somebody is expending of energy. Like I'm telling you, like seriously, you shut down completely for like 24 hours. Don't talk to a soul. Where are your kids
when you do this? How do you have time? You're a single mom too. Where do your kids go when you do this?
Oh, I can only do this when they're with their dad. So I just hang on and hang in there. Hang in there.
Because I get those
giving until I can like recover. And then I'm telling you, but the recovery moments, you know, if you can have short recovery moments, you know, every now and then, that's probably the best. But, you know, when you've got a crazy schedule with work and kids and house and, you know, everything like that, you got to schedule in like major recovery times. You know, people say work hard, play hard, but how many people really know what that means and actually follow that along? So, you know, sometimes play hard, it also means rest hard.
Nothing. Yes. And I have no
rejuvenate all of your systems.
I have no guilt around the time that I schedule for that. I'm talking about like when it hits me in midweek. You know what I mean? And I'll take the break anyway, and I'll do the thing anyway. But the whole time I'm talking myself off the ledge. The whole time I'm like, no, this is important for you, Triffany. This is good for you, Triffany. You're going to be better on the other side of this, Triffany. You know, I just do that over and over and over again. And I think it's funny that, you know, the person who teaches us stuff and does it still struggles with that. You know, if I haven't scheduled it, if it doesn't fall into my plan.
Subconscious beliefs. I mean, your subconscious beliefs are the things that are creating those feelings of guilt.
That weird paradigm that says you only get this one block to yourself and everything else belongs to everybody else. It's bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's
you can consciously talk yourself out of it, but you know, the guilt is really anchored by a subconscious belief.
Something else. It's true. Something that you may not even be aware of. Yep, it's true.
Yeah.
Well, this has been fun. I think we covered some cool stuff. It's always fun to talk to you. I always have a good time with you.
I know. I do too. What are you doing this weekend?
Oh, gosh. Teaching a workshop on Saturday.
Cool.
Saturday night, I'm meeting a whole new group of gals. This other friend of mine, she just out of nowhere said, I've got a friend who wants to get like minds together and just have dinner. Do you want to come? I'm sure. Yes. And then Sunday.
Next time you'll have to add me as your +1.
Absolutely.
I have like mind.
I'll vet them first and see if they're really of like minds.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, finishing up the yard stuff that I let pile up on me. What about you? What you got going on?
Well, hold on. What are you teaching this weekend?
I teach at the Denver Divorce Workshop that this woman puts together through an organization called wife.org. And it's brilliant. All of us, we volunteer to do this. It's really a heart-centered group that is lawyers, real estate agents, insurance people. I should say there's one per workshop. A life coach or therapist that gives the resources women who are contemplating going through or healing from divorce so that they can do it in the healthiest, most prepared way possible. Prepared financially, prepared emotionally, prepared for the big decisions that face them as they go through this change. So it's something I do.
Awesome.
Oh, I don't know. You know, there's a rotation of us, so I probably do it 4 or 5 times a year. Yeah, and it's a good group. It's really good. And it's just, she's put this all together seriously just to be of service. There is a registration fee to get people in the seats because people will say they come and then they don't come, but if they pay, they come.
Right.
And then what is above and beyond what she pays in marketing, she actually sends to a single moms group through her church that helps single moms get on their feet and stuff. So it's really a really neat organization.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. How about you? What you got going on?
Oh, I am hosting an event for a group of professional women here in Denver. So I'm making a Thanksgiving dinner. You know me. I plan dinner parties and then I go, what did I set myself up for?
I'm sensing a theme here. I'm sensing a pattern for you.
I know, it is. I set myself up with these wonderful goals that I have for myself, and then I really have to like gather up all of my internal resources to make it all happen, which it does. It happens, you know, fantastically, but I really do max out my resources to do it. And I just, you know, maybe that's something I look at and be like, why do I keep doing this? You know, because I have a dream of one day being able to do it with ease.
Yes, and with some help with caterers and housekeepers.
Yes. Well, I don't mind the housekeeper, but I wonder, even if I had a caterer, I probably would do the cooking myself.
You would still do some of it because that's part of the fun for you, and you're such a good cook.
So yeah. I enjoy the cooking, and I enjoy the raving about my cooking. I'm not gonna lie.
That's very nice. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So I'll pull it off. I'll pull it off, and I'll have fun. And
you always do.
Yeah.
I love that your kids are growing up with this, with being sort of the epicenter of so many wonderful social memories. You know, they may not always remember names or faces as they grow up and move out, but they're always going to remember being surrounded by friends and family and good smells and good food and laughter. And I think that's pretty great. You're really giving them something special with that.
Yes. Well, my ultimate dream is to live on an island somewhere and throw lots of dinner parties all the time, freshly, most of it freshly coming out of my garden, or and just living a much more relaxed lifestyle than the one I'm creating for myself here.
Progress, not perfection.
That's what this conversation is bringing up for me. It's like, okay, Sandra, what's going on here? Your dream is to just, be able to help people from a space of ease, and I'm not creating much ease in my life. I'm creating a lot of work, but it is fun. I'm not torturing myself at any means. I enjoy everything that I'm doing. It's just I'm trying to shove too much of it in a short amount of time. And
well, you did say earlier you're an introvert too, and that means that as much as you can enjoy this and be gregarious and love having people around, it's going to wear you out. Like some of that's just going to be, it's not necessarily you're creating dis-ease. It's just that in order to feed one side of you, there's a little opportunity cost that comes with that decision. That's all.
That's exactly it. It's the opportunity cost.
Yeah.
And I am consciously willing to pay that cost, because
that's right.
I do love to gather people around for food and fun.
Yes. And you schedule in the downtime you need to recover from that. So that's awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, good. Well, this has been fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. You know what? I was going to send an email out to my mailing list about this, and I'm kind of glad I didn't, because it's our pilot, and there were a little bit of we had some startup. We didn't exactly start on time because we had some technical glitches to work out. But I'm thinking I'm gonna send out an email to my group about that we're here on Mondays at 2 p.m. We never know what we're gonna talk about. Maybe I should say that. Well, we never know what we're going to talk about. This is the part that you didn't hear, unfortunately, on the introduction, which I need to figure out if that's possible to put up. But we always have some kind of great insights that come up whenever we get together, and we hope to share those insights with you. You might be going through the same things as us, and something that we talk about might spark an aha moment in you, and that's the reason why we do this. And we're going to be here on Mondays at 2 p.m. Mountain Time, and we hope that you can join us. And if there's any topic in particular that you would like us to talk about sometime, just go ahead and put it in the comments section. But know that most of the time it's Triffany and I catching up with each other, and all of a sudden talking about some spiritual topic or something like that, and gaining insight on our lives. And gosh, I wish I could remember the last thing we talked about, because that was just so momentous that we're just like, oh my God.
Gosh, we had another one this last Friday too. We're like, oh, we should talk about that.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, like you said, we don't always know what we're going to talk about. So apparently today we were supposed to talk about what we talked about.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and it could seem random, but really the most growth happens when you get your conscious mind out of the way. Your conscious mind just works from the limitations that it's used to and that it knows, and it's only going to recognize the limitations that it's used to and it knows. So if you can push your your conscious mind to the side, you allow your subconscious mind to be limitless and learn so many things and grow. And that's what we do. And that's what we're sharing with everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Just freewheeling it, having fun in the process, and those gems that crop up, we know it when we feel it, not even when we say it, when we feel it. And hopefully you'll get an idea of what this looks like to have these conscious conversations with your friends and your family, and it'll spark your own little epiphanies and your own little ahas, and maybe tempt you to do something that felt a little scary. So, well, thank you, Sandra.
Yay. So we are not set to see each other in person for a while. So
I know
our next couple of online talks should be interesting, because we'll really be catching up with each other at 2 o'clock with the world watching.
It'll be good. It'll be so good. Will you have launched your new website by next week?
You know what? I was hoping that it was going to go public today, but there are a couple of more stuff needing to be put together first. Yeah. So yeah, I think conservatively saying by next Monday would be great.
Okay. Fingers crossed.
So if anybody goes to the website now, you'll see the old one, which is not bad.
It's just not as amazing as this one.
Exactly. Yes. It'll be a lot more amazing in a week.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited. Text me when you're done with it, and I'll go take a look at it. I want to see it, especially with all the beginning stuff that you have on the homepage and stuff. I'm super excited.
Yes, I will definitely do that.
All right. We'll see you in a week.
Dear. I'll see you in a week. Bye.